Right. Hello and welcome, FPL managers, and welcome to Ghana Football Fantasy. And of course, we are back for the Zonal Weakness Game Week 3. Today, of course, there's no one with me, so I'm going to do it all by myself, and I hope you enjoy it. So, yeah, let's get started straight away and let's see what the zone brings. And of course, this is the Zonal Weakness for Game Week 3. And before we get into the show and all the details of the tables, let me just run through some of the formalities here. Of course, if you haven't followed or like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook, or on Twitter, please do so now because we are producing regular content. So any support coming from you would be greatly appreciated. And of course, all the stats that you see are taken from the Fantasy Football Scout members area for 40% discount. Please click on the link in the description section and you will get access to all the data, including the zonal weakness for all the 20 teams. And you can then pick and choose whichever team you like. And yeah, this is the right time. So any investment in this regard would be very useful and of course help you to play the fantasy football in a much more informed way. So let's move on straight because I'm doing it all by myself, all alone. There is no Bethany here, but of course from next week we'll have a new guest joining us. And I'll keep that for right now as a surprise. So yeah, let's do that. Right, so here is the zonal table. And just looking at game week 3, and this is, of course, includes the first game week and the second game week's data. So it's just 2 game weeks data. And first up, it's West Ham versus Manchester City. And of course, you can see that West Ham has actually conceded 9 chances down the right flank, where KDB and Doku is likely to play. And I think that creates a big possibility for KDB and Doku as West Ham is ranked second. And of course, obviously, we cannot talk about Manchester City without actually talking about Erling Haaland, the hat-trick man. And down the center, of course, West Ham has conceded 6 chances and are ranked 9. But I don't think so the rank should matter here in this case for Haaland. We all know how dangerous he can be, what a lethal finisher he is. So yeah, in this regard, just stick with Haaland. And yeah, perhaps this might just come into a conversation in terms of the captaincy, but yeah, he's still a very good captain shout. The other interesting factor, and he's slightly marked outside the white zone because we only mark the top 5 players as white. And you can see Savinho, who's done very well and is playing kind of getting regular minutes at the Pep. Although I'm not suggesting that, he's guaranteed to start, but he has started 2 matches. So taking into consideration that he is likely to start the next match, looking at Savinho stats, and if you see West Ham has considered actually 6 chances down the left flank, and they are ranked 7th. So I think anybody taking a punt instead of Foden going, or anybody having Savinho, I would say, just play him. There is a highly high possibility that Savinho could do well. Right, let's move on to the next fixture, which is Manchester United versus Liverpool. It's the big match, of course, and you can see clearly that Manchester United have considered 8 chances down the right flank, where Luis Diaz, who scored in the last match, he looked in good form, he looked in good touch, so he's likely to do well again. And of course, Robertson. Salah is slightly outside the white mark again, white zone mark, but he down the left flank, of course, Manchester United have considered 6 chances and they're ranked 8th, where Salah is likely to play. And I think that still creates a possibility for Salah as a captain shout. So if you really look at Haaland and Salah as a captaincy option this week, Haaland is ranked 9th, Salah is ranked 8th. And I would really consider Haaland as a better captain option, likely because this is it's a derby. And it's an important match, and it's of course a rival match between Manchester United and Liverpool. So in that case, while Haaland has done well, Manchester United have also strengthened the defense lines. West Ham, on the other hand, looks a little bit more shaky. So yeah, I would consider Haaland as a better captain option than Salah in this game. Newcastle versus Tottenham. I think this is a very interesting one. You can see a lot of white in the table there. I think the first up is Maddison, who's looking bright and who's looking sharp, at least from the eye test point of view. I think he's fantastic. Perhaps after the Arsenal match is something that we can all consider. But just looking at the zonal table, Newcastle have conceded 8 chances down the right flank and are currently ranked fifth. Son, of course, last week he scored two braces. He scored 2 goals, and there was a brace. So down the center, of course, Newcastle have conceded 11 chances, and they're the worst side so far. So Son is likely to still do well if he's playing down the center. And then you have Poro, where playing down the left-hand side of Newcastle, where they have conceded 9 chances and are ranked third. So I think all the 3 players are likely to do well in this regard. But yeah, if you have Son, just hold on. Madison is someone to keep an eye on. And Poro, of course, just playing. I think this fixture was quite good for Tottenham perspective or FPL perspective. Leicester versus Aston Villa. That's basically, you can see from the center, Leicester have considered 9 chances and are ranked third, where Watkins and Rogers. Rogers will look bright, very good on the eye test. I think he had created 4 chances and I think 1 big chances. I think if my stats or memory serves me correct, but I think he's looking still bright. So if it's cheap, so you can keep him if you want to. I think that would be a good option. Bailey and Nedeljkovic, I think that's where Leicester have considered 13 chances and on the worst side down the left flank. So I think that's where Bailey might do well this week. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye on, especially with Matty Cash being out right now. And I think this is a very good opportunity for those considering Nedeljkovic, who's rather cheap. Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Yeah, not any white there, but I think I'd like to talk about Parma. And Madueke has just started the match that's ongoing right now. And you can see Madueke most likely will start. I'm not quite sure, but again, we are not here to predict who's going to start and who's not going to start, but more focusing on who's likely to play in that zone. And if Madueke is to continue to play in the same zone that he played last week, or Parma is to play in that week in the same zone, then you can see that on the left flank, Crystal Palace have conceded 6 chances and are ranked 9th. And I think that's still something makes Parma still a very good option. Ipswich versus Fulham, and I think Muniz is a very good shout. So those of you who are going to Muniz or still holding on to Muniz, I think please do so. Smith Rowe as well. I think down the center, they have conceded 7 chances and are ranked 4th. Ipswich, so they're looking vulnerable down there. So Muniz could do well. So all the managers who have kept patience over the last 2 game weeks, this is the week you probably might get rewarded here. I'm not going to touch upon Pereira, to be honest, in particular, but yeah, let's move to the next slide and see what's there. Right, so here we can see that it's Mateta standing out. Nketiah has just joined in from Arsenal, and I'm not sure if he's going to play, but Mateta, let's just consider that if he's going to start, Chelsea have conceded 7 chances down the center and are ranked 5th, so this is still looking a very good option. Eze, at least the zonal suggests it's not looking very bright, so those of you who are holding on to him, perhaps this is a week to watch, but he's still really the center figure when it comes to Crystal Palace, so yeah, we should just keep an eye. I'll skip the others and move on to the Wolves versus Nottingham Forest, where we have Chris Wood and Morgan Gibbs-White. As you can see, Wolves have actually conceded 10 chances down the center and are ranked 2nd. And that's where Wood is likely to go and play. And of course, Morgan Gibbs-White has scored in the last match, so he's going to play. So there's a good prospect for them to score in this match, or at least to get an assist. Elanga and Nico Williams, again, down the left flank, Wolves have conceded 12 chances and are ranked 2nd. And that's where Elanga and Nico Williams are likely to operate. So creates a lot of prospect for Elanga and Nico Williams as well. Between Newcastle and Tottenham, of course, Isaac, I think Tottenham have conceded 7 headed chances, and that makes Isaac a very good prospect, at least in terms of head, because they are ranked 3rd. And then Yeah, I think the last one is basically Murphy, where crosses, in terms of the crosses considered, I think Tottenham have considered actually 21 crosses from the left flank and ranked fourth. So yeah, those are the players that stands out this week at least. We have touched upon only those that are top five and not really Gordon beside Haaland and Salah. So let's move on to the next slide and see how the team of the week looks like. Um, I don't really see any players that's really standing out from all the players that we have already discussed. As you can see, Haaland, Watkins, Son, Luis Diaz, De Bruyne, Palmer, Bailey, Robertson, Nico Williams, and Oro, all included in the match. I think the last week the Zonal did very well. I think it's about 77% accuracy, so I think that's very good. And I think the team of the week got about 80%. So yeah, so do keep an eye on this one, and yeah. And I think that's it. Thank you so much. Let us know. And if you think, I've done the recording all by myself, which is a different experience. So if you do have any comments and feedbacks, please do share with us. But next week, we'll have a new guest. But until then, thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.